Atomic Brain introduces us to Mrs. March, a wealthy old woman afraid of death. Desperate to prolong her lifespan, she employs scientist Dr. Frank to help give her extra life. The doctor has the ability to transplant brains from one body to another, even across species. He already implanted the brain of a dog into a man. Now that beast roams the forest surrounding the house. One of the problems Dr. Frank frequently deals with is the nerve deterioration of the brain. If the rot is too much, the subject when revived is a mindless zombie. He needs live specimens for the transplant to have a better rate of success. To help with that, Mrs. March hires 3 women through an employment agency. There's Beatrice from England, Nina from Vienna, and Anita from Mexico. Mrs. March hopes to use one of their bodies for her brain. It doesn't take long for the girls to realize something is amiss, but when they reach the house, it is too late for them to escape. The Atomic Brain was not the original title for the film. When released theatrically, it was known as Monstrosity. The Atomic Brain title was introduced during its television run. The pacing of the film is its biggest flaw. For a movie only an hour and 4 minutes, it feels way longer than that. Not helping are the scenes of the characters talking with very little action or horror shenanigans to keep the viewer invested. However, it's not difficult to think how taboo this film was at the time. You have some partial nudity, the missing eye appliance on Beatrice is effective, there is some intrigue, but these moments are few and far between. Not surprisingly, this film probably benefited the most from the riffing of Mike and the Bots. The plotting pace is overtaken by the wit of Mike Nelson, Kevin Murphy, and Trace Beaulieu. It has one of my favorite riffs. When Mrs. March stands up from her wheelchair, Crow yells, "Mein Führer, I can walk!" The quickest way to my heart is the Doctor Strange love reference. Joseph V. Maselli made only one movie. The Atomic Brain was it. He's better known for being a cinematographer for exploitation legend Ray Dennis Steckler, while guitar with Arch Hall Jr., known as being the quote-unquote teen idol in EGA with Richard Kiel as a California caveman, The Thrill Killers, and possibly the longest movie title ever, The Incredibly Strange Creatures Who Stopped Living and Became Mixed-Up Zombies. Although many sites claim that Jack Palexvin was an uncredited director. On The Atomic Brain, Palexvin was also the producer and co-writer of the script. He directed 2 other films, notably The Indestructible Man with a past his prime Lon Chaney Jr. as a mute, unstoppable killer out for revenge. Palexvin has a decent 22 credits as a writer. The music by Gene Cower is a curiosity. It's a schizophrenic score, a wide range of styles. You have the ominous music, perfect for a horror film of its time. Then at times you have the sitcom lighthearted music. And then there's the famous old lady theme for Mrs. March. It's all over the place. Marjorie Eaton plays the fiendish Mrs. March. Despite being in this B picture, she managed to make her way into a couple of pop culture staples. She was Miss Persimmon in Mary Poppins, she was in an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and had a bit part in Bullet with Steve McQueen. Frank Gerstel is Dr. Frank. He was a TV regular, appearing in programs like The Red Skeleton Hour, I Love Lucy, Dragnet, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and Sunset Strip. Frank Fowler plays Victor, the assistant to Mrs. March. Fowler had a few small roles prior to The Atomic Brain, but after this film, he wouldn't act in another role until 1988 for the TV show Eagle's Crest, followed by an appearance on the revival of Dragnet in 1990 and the early 90s sitcom Blossom. Erica Peters, who plays Nina, had a few noted roles in her filmography. She was in the William Castle classic Mr. Sardonicus. She also appeared with Elvis Presley in GI Blues. Judy Bamber plays Beatrice. She was in Roger Corman's A Bucket of Blood as Alice. Now I need to go back to revisit that film to see if I can find her. Here's all you need to know about Lisa Lang. She was credited as small role in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and minor role in Stars and Stripes Forever. Bradford Dillman provided the film's narration, and he was everywhere, TV and film. Man from U.N.C.L.E., Mission Impossible, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Murder, She Wrote, and a few of the later Dirty Harry films with Clint Eastwood. Sadly, there are no credits for the actor who played Hans the Dog Man. This film is honestly a tough watch, even with the short run time. You need the crew from the Satellite of Love to make it through this one.